Welcome to this episode of Meet KTA in honor of National Telecommunicators Week. We have 3 different employees of the Kansas Turnpike Incident Management Center. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll have you introduce yourselves, say your name, how long you've been here, and your position.
I'm Emily Hutton. I'm an Incident Management Specialist 1, and I've been here for almost 2 years.
I'm Robin Hoyt. I'm an Incident Management Specialist 2. I've been with the Incident Management Center for the Turnpike a little over 7 years.
My name is Neil Charles, and I'm the Incident Management Supervisor. I've been here for 10 years.
What would you say is the hardest part of your job?
I would say the hardest part is trying to figure out the best solution, not only for the customer, but for the units that we dispatch.
I think the hardest part of the job for me, honestly, is when we have to work a serious incident, accident or something, especially when people's lives are involved. It's difficult and it's stressful.
I think it's normal for a dispatcher to multitask, but down there it's kind of like hyper multitasking because I don't think people realize everything we do. There's not just phone calls that we answer, or not even just dispatching on the radio, but we have alarms that we monitor, we have roadway signs that we're responsible for. When it's all going on at the same time, it's a little overwhelming sometimes, but everybody does a good job keeping track and keeping straight.
So opposite of that, what would you say is the best part of your job?
Working when Robin brings in cinnamon rolls because they're delicious. We edit that out. No,
that stays.
Nobody else needs to know about cinnamon rolls.
For me, it's just the satisfaction of a job well done. It's good to go away at the end of the day knowing you helped somebody.
Right. Yeah, knowing that you did everything that you possibly could to get everyone home safely.
So describe the process of what it's like down there when there is an accident or a major roadway closure.
I think from the initial call, we typically have a pretty good idea of how serious it's going to be. You know, the customers are usually telling us something that indicates to us that this is going to be a lengthy closure or a pretty serious incident. From that point, you know, of course, we get everybody who needs to respond en route, and then our next step then is to notify the public, the people that are still on the roadway going to be approaching that incident.
And to add to that, when you're working with a team, we all have to divide those duties equally to get them done, you know, in a timely manner. And that's the best part of our job, is being able to work through that with other people.
We are a communication center. Our number one priority is obviously communicating what needs to be communicated to every agency and personnel, customers.
So going along with that, what makes you guys different than a 911 dispatch center?
I think our core job function is very similar in assisting people and, you know, responding emergency units out there. But in addition to that, we also have responsibilities to a business and to the Kansas Turnpike and making sure that they are aware of what's happening out there on the roadway. And along those same lines, you know, the people that we're talking to aren't just citizens that live in the area that we dispatch for, they're customers, and they have to be treated that way.
I think at 911, after your initial call taking, dispatching, even scene safety, it kind of ends there with the Turnpike. We have so much follow-up, notifications, documentation, reporting.
As the roadway changes, you know, video enforcement, things like that, we have to change and adapt. There's a lot that we have to keep track of and remember. Construction projects, we have to keep tabs on different lanes that are closed all throughout the Turnpike, you know, be aware of what's going on 236 miles of roadway constantly as it changes.
Since you have several years of experience, this is probably difficult to answer, but do you have any memories or incidents that stand out to you?
I don't think that there's any one incident for me. I think any time that we have an incident where there's loss of life, you know, sitting there in that chair behind that desk, somebody's life has just drastically changed and it'll never be the same. Those are always really hard, and that's when I think we lean on each other a lot to understand and kind of talk through what's just happened and you know, make sure that we're going home okay with that at night.
I think, as I said before, it's always a good feeling when you've been able to reassure somebody that helps on the way. Those kinds of things stand out to you because that makes it all worthwhile.
So what is the most common phone call that you get down in IMC?
Flat tire, probably, I think. Just need some assistance with it.
I've made that phone call personally
myself.
Yeah.
I just accidentally went through the toll plaza and didn't pay. It's probably the most common call we get these days.
Since you are on the other side of that phone and hear about all of these incidents, what advice would you have to drivers?
I think my number one piece of advice would be to just know where you're at. That's going to be the first question we ask you. Where are you?
I couldn't agree more. You know your roadway, know where you're at, know where you're going.
Well, thank you for joining me and giving us a little insight, and thank you guys for watching this episode, and we'll see you next time.